It's not Sunday night, but it's Monday night, and that means we're one night closer to another Illini basketball game. So back to another episode of Keeping It Orange and Blue. Ryan Schroet, Kevin Ducey. A lot going on in Illini lands, Kevin. Just never, ever seems to be good news on Illinois basketball's roster.
Yeah, I mean, you get some good luck. You get some bad luck. You get some good luck in going to scout a guy like Igor Demine, and you find Conspiracionis, and then you can't seem to stay healthy. And now we lost the guy who probably is in the Illini circles, probably just about everybody's favorite player right about now with the effort and energy that he brings. And I don't know how long Merez is going to be out. I've heard conflicting reports between 2 to 4 weeks. My gut is I don't know the severity of the break. I'm not a doctor. Didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so I'm not even going to pretend to be one. But it certainly would sound more like 4 weeks to me.
So maybe the NCAA tournament would be the
Big Ten tournament, yeah.
Big Ten NCAA tournament would probably be. I would say this, Kevin. You would probably agree. Let's say he's about ready, right? And Illinois is a lock to make the tournament from all regards, no matter what, even if they lose out because the bubble's that bad this year. And Illinois has 7 quad 1 wins. Yeah. So, and that's
they're not going to lose out. I'm just going to tell you right now.
No, they're not. But I'm just speaking. Brad Evans was talking about it earlier on. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to bring it up. I think Illinois is going to win a couple to end the year. So, but either way, they're going to make the tournament no matter what. So if it was Kevin, it was up to you. And let's say Merez is just about there. He could probably play in the Big Ten tournament. But if you gave him another week, he'll be full go for the NCAA tournament. What would you do?
He ain't playing the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and furthermore, there's no way he's playing the rest of the season if there's any kind of opportunity for it to impact him next year.
Yeah, 100%, because he's going to be making a big buku dollar somewhere with the NIL. He's
at Illinois.
Yes, but I can't. You have to say it with transfer portal world. It is, man. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think he's going to leave, but it would be naive for me just to assume that any player will be at Illinois next year, because it's just how it is, Sadly, it's not just them making the decisions, Kevin, and you know that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you look at the Adam Miller situation; it's still mind-boggling, right? It's like that one is just, there's some other ones that had them extenuating circumstances, and like
RJ Melendez. There's another one.
Yeah,
his camp didn't want him at Illinois, so.
Anyway, want him at Georgia either, I guess.
Yeah, my guy is Tony. You met Tony. He said, "Cheer us up."
Yeah.
Jay Bagan.
A little later.
But he felt comfortable enough to play. That's another thing too.
Yeah.
But I think we all garnered, and
they do play plenty of minutes with a broken wrist. I think Merez is a warrior. I think Merez wants to get on the court as soon as he can. Let's be real here.
Yeah, we all saw the dude's toughness. We all knew he was a warrior. And the fact that he went back in and just was like, just tape it up, just tape up a broken wrist. I don't know if that works. If you have a fracture in there, if tape does the job, but he went in there and still played.
Still battle, yeah, for sure.
So obviously that's the biggest news right now. And as we mentioned, Merez Johnson's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks, maybe 4 to 5. If you need the fifth, it would be the NCAA tournament. That would be a full 5. If he makes, NCAA tournament week would be 5 from now. So now, what will Illinois need to do in the meantime, right, Kev? So obviously, you're going to have to move Hummerkaus back into the 4 spot and have Tomislav at the 5. And that means you're going to slide, Will Riley stay at the 3 probably, Boswell at the 2, and then KJ at the 1. But that means we're going to have minutes from guys like Trey White, a little Kerry Booth probably mixed in, and Dre Gibbs Lawhorn with Jake Davis. Like, I think you're going to have to probably add, the 8-9 man thing going on here because, Avicic doesn't need to be playing more than 30 minutes a game, and Ben Hummerkaus is right about 30. But you already know there's going to be games where foul trouble comes into play here. So Trey White is gonna need, in my opinion, to play. I think, and that. Go ahead, Kev.
I think with the Trey White situation, there's got to be something deeper that we don't know, we don't understand. He's been cleared to play since the Minnesota game. Came in a Minnesota game, 2 fouls, 12 seconds. And that's all we've seen him in the last 3 games. Dressed on the bench for Michigan State and UCLA, and now I think it's a situation of I don't know if there was a team rule violation, and frankly I'm happy that the coaching staff that we don't know. I don't think it's our place to know if that's the case, but there's got to be a place to where he's got to come in and start contributing because he had a period of a stretch of 7 games where he was in double figures all but one. The one game he wasn't in double figures was Chicago State. The other 6 were high major games. That went back to the Wisconsin game where he cooked him for 20 points. He averaged 17 points per game over that stretch, I believe. So it's Illinois is just in such a weird situation with, we talked about it a lot, Ryan, before the season. I've said it multiple times on this show during the season. The challenge for this team was always going to be continuity, and we thought they'd take their lumps early, and they did a little bit. And then they started to seem to gel. They hit that little, 5-game winning streak. Kylan decides he wants to burn some sage.
Yeah.
Kasparis gets hurt. He's out. Tommy gets sick. He's out. Dre's sick. Will's sick. DGL sick. Like, it just is like they haven't been able to really find this cohesive unit where they should be settled into roles right now, and they're not, and it's affecting the production on the court. And they're gonna have to figure it out real freaking quick. Wisconsin, I watched that second half against Purdue. They look like a well-oiled machine at Mackey. It was one of the best performances I've ever seen. That offense was clicking on all levels. Now, I don't know how well they guard, but our defense has been a little suspect as well lately. Obviously, we've slipped. We're in the hundreds in the last month. I think in defensive efficiency, you keep getting cooked by weird guys. Jackson Kohler making a third of his career 3-pointers against us is kind of weird. But so they're going to have to figure something out, and that's where I think a guy like Trey can really come in and help. I think DGL can help there as well. DGL can be a little bit overly aggressive on defense and getting beat off the dribble. Something he's got to work on, but I think energy. I also think, and here's another thing. I mean, Dre had his run where he was in double digits of like 5 or 6 games, and then he gets sick. So I'd really like to be able to see it with, like, Will Riley has clearly gotten over his freshman wall to put these guys back into play and see what they can do. I'd actually like to see DGL start. Somebody said it earlier. Kylan Boswell didn't give us much of anything against Michigan State. And I think
way too timid, Kev.
Yeah, and I think that DGL in the starting lineup is actually, I think Latulip said on a podcast this week that DGL is always going to have his hair a little bit on fire. I think Dre, and I actually like that. I think most Illinois fans do. I think DGL starting calms that fire down just a little bit because he's a little bit more comfortable and like, I'm here. I don't have to do everything to earn every minute on the floor if I'm in the starting lineup. So it'll be interesting to see how Brad shakes it up tomorrow night. They're going to have to do something that's going to be a real tough place to win. So.
And one thing we have seen and we know is when they get backed up against the wall, I think over the course of Brad's tenure, especially over the last 5 years, that they've responded pretty well.
They have.
And that's just for any of the weird circumstances, the Batman IO, right?
Right.
At Ohio State, there's, several instances where it was like, yeah, I don't think we're going to come out with this one. They go into Madison and win a big one, So I'm not going to predict.
Maybe we can make 17 of 19 instead of missing 19 in a row.
Yeah, I will say, true. This team can make open shots and make threes. It's just so, just mind numbing at times how much they struggle to shoot it, and I think the biggest issue against Michigan State that we saw was, while we were out rebounding them for a good chunk of the game, at the end, we were not. And that when you're shooting all those threes and not getting the rebounds, then the reason why Illinois is able to get away with shooting a lower percentage from three and shooting more is because Illinois is getting their misses.
A ton of them, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Michigan State is right behind Illinois in the Big Ten in rebounding, and they negated that.
Right.
So that's kind of why you saw a little bit of a stalemate there for a while.
That one possession where we missed 3 threes was just like, are you freaking kidding me?
And one of them was like the one from KJ that bounced around a few times, and I was like, just drop in. And then you see Holloman on the other end hit all backboard and rim.
Oh, yeah, bank a three. And here's the thing, like, I had some circumstances I couldn't do the show last night, and I was in a bad mood all day yesterday. I can't stand their Twitter, and Lord knows their Twitter jumped all over my ass because I thought for sure we were going to beat them. I don't think they're that good. I can't wait for them to lose early in the NCAA tournament. I think that team's a lot of fool's gold. Tom Izzo's punk ass getting the record on our court. There's a lot of things I can't stand about it.
And the Terrence Shannon Jr. thing, that jersey.
Right. Goodness gracious, this was over and over and over again, the things that didn't go our way. And I was in a pretty bad mood. But as I was been thinking about it, we lost by 14, right?
Yep.
We missed our last 19 shots and didn't score for 8 minutes. I mean, Tommy's shot wide open from 3, halfway down. You talked about Kasparis' shot halfway down. Kasparis misses the layup. Like, these are just like, I think it was.
There was a lot of bad luck.
I think it's an anomaly, man. I don't think this is a what's to come from this team. I think it was flat out an anomaly. So.
But I think you could agree to an extent, though. There was probably 3 or 4 bad possessions in that 9 minutes where you.
And I think Brad said it is they settled for easy. And you and I were talking off the air. It was like, well, you got to sit their ass down. And I agree with you.
That's the only way you can hold specific guys accountable, though.
It's tough to tell. Kasparis Aksionis is the best player on this team.
Yeah,
Tomislav Izvicic is one of our most important players. It's really tough to say we're not, because we weren't out of the game until like the final minute or two, right? It's really tough to say I'm going to sit your ass down for taking an ill-advised shot with 6 minutes to go in a game that's pretty tight. I mean, that's tough, dude.
I'm not saying it's just 6 minutes, but I mean, that could just be a precursor for the rest of the season to me. Yeah. Like, if you're not going to do and play smart, because Brad says he has no idea why they weren't attacking the rim. That's what he said.
Well,
so
I know why.
My point to that, though, Kev, is if he doesn't know why, then who should know why, right? Like, if you're the head of you're the CEO of the team, and you don't know why they weren't, then who should know?
Because they were settling. They were not. Michigan State did a really nice job of blocking off some dribble drive penetration opportunities, and they settled.
During those timeouts that he was like, let's dribble let's drive. So I wasn't saying just like after one instance, just yank his ass, but it's like repeated ones where it's like, okay, we just talked about this in 2 timeouts and we're continuing to do it. Like, Dre, get your ass in there, even for a possession. Dre, get your ass in there.
And Kylan has to find a way to get to the rim. Kylan, and it's not because we love his ability to finish. By the way, I've noticed this. Kylan's really good at finishing with his right hand and really bad with his left. Imagine that right-handed player. He has to find a way to get to the free throw line. He did not get to the free throw line. He has to get to the free throw line. So you've got to continue to go to the rim. And
Merez playing 6 minutes with his broken wrist.
Right.
He missed a layup and bunny, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with him? Well, now I know.
Yeah, Glenn, that was so frustrating. Illinois was in the bonus and shot one free throw, and we missed it.
And I think that's another reason that it rubbed the people the wrong way. And I wanted to know just a little glimmer here, because I'm sure people have seen my tweets about it. I won't beat a dead horse here. And Kev, you know people that know the situation, a little bit probably better than most people here. And of course, I talk to those people. I talk to parents. I talk to some of the guys on the team, and not who you think it is. But so Trey White's been healthy the last 2 games. Could it have been discipline? Sure. But for everything that I'm told, Kev, it's not. So not like
I think there's
like he
deeper.
broke a team rule, more of like as I've said on Twitter, more of like made it loud and clear that he was pissed off about his playing time. And I don't think Brad rolls like that. And I think maybe you're proving a point to an extent, but I think that time's got to be over now, with Merez out. So, and if you listen to his press conference earlier today, you could tell he said they asked him, and he had avoided, though, Kev, the Trey White stuff for the last 2 games. They asked him, Trey White, DGL, YA, blah, blah, blah. He would literally just address Dre Gibbs Longhorn. And finally today, he was asked, like, so what are you going to do to incorporate Trey White into this? And he finally was like, just, be smart, attack the rim, take open shots, don't force things, and rebound. We need that. We need that Trey White. So that's what I'm expecting you're going to see tomorrow against Wisconsin when he's in there. I expect you're going to see him crashing the glass hard. I think, if he's got an open 3 in the corner, I'm sure he'll take them. And you're going to see him attack to try to, get to the rim. And I think, the team needs some of that physicality, because Ben Hummerkaus, who I will say this, tries his ass off. As much as, there's times that he pisses me off. I can never fault a guy. Like, the dude really does try. Like, he's battling guys in the post. He's just not super athletic. And sometimes his limitations, it's frustrating when you can't stop somebody. It's like, why can't you stop somebody? Well, if you physically aren't bigger than the guy and you're physically less athletic and you're not as long, Kevin, you're probably not going to stop the guy as much.
Yeah. I think, listen, I'm a huge Brad homer. Everybody knows that listens to the show or follows me, but I think Brad has made some I think he's made some coaching mistakes, and I think he's admitted it. I also think you've said it before this season, like we get some great looks and guys don't make them. And it's just really, really nerve wracking what's going on there. One thing that's kind of crazy about Hummerkaus, I was doing some digging into this stuff, and I watched a little bit of the game as much as I could fathom. Like, watch him when he's on defense. Like, he drew Fears for a lot of the game because Fears can't shoot. So it was a sagging off and he was there available to help. He points out like, you watch him, he'll direct defense. He directs a lot. And listen, I'm not saying that makes his 3 for 10 or 0 of 6 shooting from the floor acceptable from a fan perspective, but from a coach perspective, that's the reason why a guy like that gets the minutes. He also has the lowest turnover rate of anybody on the team by a significant margin. And he's been rebounding much better. He had that stretch where he was terrible on the glass. He's averaging almost 4 defensive rebounds a game in the last 13, obviously all Big Ten games. So the guy, and this team is not a good shooting team. He still made the most threes on this team. He's a guy that you want shooting that open, especially that wing. And it's just like, when he doesn't hit those, man, it just drives me. I don't understand how he can make 6 in a row and then miss the next 12. It's just I know it's streaky. It's a challenging thing there. So,
like I said, I've grown to like him a little more than I did earlier in the year. And this isn't about like him as a person. I think he's a great guy. I think I've interviewed him.
Sure, did you hear what he said?
People take it the wrong way, though, Kev. They go, "Oh, you're attacking him." No, nope. I'm not attacking the Ben Hummerkaus.
I think people have a problem with him playing like the third most minutes on the team. And I think even the biggest Ben Humrickhouse supporter around would probably be me, because I don't know a lot of other ones. Like, I think it's probably a little bit too much, but we got to have guys step up. And
if Trey White can come in there and take a 5-6 of those minutes away from Ben, not play just 5 minutes, but let's say instead of Ben playing 29, he's playing 23. I don't think anybody's going to cry about that.
25, yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, that's
so if Trey's splitting time in there with Will and Ben, nobody's gonna complain about that. His booty ball's been a lot more effective lately. Actually, I like that. That's been working. But yeah, definitely, man.
But you know what's also pretty cool about watching that is to realize how special Marcus was at that.
Yeah, you see that was just like money for him, man. Yeah. But anyway, I will say that for the defensive thing here for Illinois, and Brad admitted it earlier today, is that it wasn't one of their better performances against Michigan State. And here's the thing: with the drop coverage that Illinois plays, as you guys know, most teams are really not good at the mid-range jumper. Yeah. Michigan State is one of those teams. It's like they can shoot. They don't shoot the three well, but they're pretty good from 15 to 17. So, and that just played into their hands, sadly. But we'll see what Wisconsin does. They've got Tonje playing out of his mind right now, but he usually goes a couple really big games and then he has a stinker. He really wasn't great against us in Champaign. I think he played better in the second half, but they've got this, was it Jankowski, Janicki?
Oh yeah, 33.
Yeah, he went off against
Janecki. Yeah,
Janecki. He's a walk-on kid.
Janecki. Yeah, we did a really nice job on Tanji last time. He was 5 of 15. So that was something.
I know people think we match up well with Wisconsin. I mean, I think
do too. I think we do. So
yeah, we do. But and we'll see. But I can tell you this: Illinois will come in tomorrow knowing that the belief in them as a team has literally nationally went down. The fan base is pissed off at them. I think they're going to batten the hatchets down, man, and kind of be, like it's about them. And there's still so much talent on the team. I tweeted this earlier, Kevin, that Illinois earlier in the year had some really good success when they weren't playing Merez a lot. Remember that?
Yeah.
So there's no reason that can't happen again. Why he's out.
One of the strange dichotomies that you have with Trey and Merez, right, is one of the reasons why I think that Ty Rodgers decided to redshirt. Trey and Merez playing together without Tommy being and Merez. Merez is not really a back you down post moves guy. We love the guy, but we really he can catch the ball and get a bucket in there, but he's not really a back you down, do a little baby hook shot kind of guy. That doesn't work. So then when you add Trey White into the situation where he's not that great of a 3-point, he's not that great of a spacer, it really clogs things up. So I think that Merez being down is a blessing in disguise for Trey White specifically. So that's the challenge there. So
yeah. So anyway, I wanted to just hit on some of that Trey White stuff for folks because there was a bunch of people. There's some conspiracy theory stuff. Anyway, I was just wanting to just beat it down there and say hey, I expect him to be playing a little bit more now. But that was what was going on, and I don't. As I said, I have some really good friends of Illini guys and some other people in the media that they would be crucified, dude, if they said that. So they would lose credentials. There'd be all kinds of stuff. So they don't need to be saying things like that. I can say these things,
right?
And I'm okay, and I always will. And I think that's why people care and watch the show, and they like to see us a little bicker a little bit, maybe. But now let's.
Hey, Ryan, what was the Achilles heel of the team last season? What did Illinois not do well all season last year? Where were they in efficiency metrics on one side of the ball? Pretty damn bad.
Defense?
Yeah. Who coached the defense last year?
Oh, you don't have to ask me. You answer.
Chester Frazier.
Chester Frazier. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, Chester Frazier did.
Harris is hitting 3% of his 3-pointers. Some of this fucking nonsense that comes in here, just get a clue.
Yeah, yeah. I will. There's always people who don't really see everything for what it is. Maybe sometimes it's hard to decipher too. There's a lot going on, man, with the portal and the coaches leaving. There's just a lot. Sadly, it's not just the portal for Illinois, but the coaching sudden, like Tim Anderson leaving, right? Chester Frazier's out, then guys leaving, and then you got Quay Jones. Illinois needs, I think, a real. I agree. I agree, though. They need a real X's and O's type of guy to help. Not Brad calling inbounds and out of bounds plays, because if you guys have watched, Illinois ran some really good out of bounds plays. But they need a guy like a Stephen Gentry, Kev. Like Illinois had a Stephen Gentry during those Io and Kofi years where, man, he had Illinois rocking and rolling well. I don't have a problem with Tyler Underwood per se, because Illinois is 14th nationally in offensive efficiency. But I don't necessarily like that Brad just relies on his son per se to walk towards the end of the games, and he doesn't look at Jeff Alexander or Antigua for their thoughts on what's going on offensively.
Are you seeing that from live and in person, or is that what the television's giving us?
No, I've seen that multiple times, not just on the television. The games that I went to this year. So I haven't been to one in the last month, so maybe that's different. But I did go to 3 earlier in the year. But still, there's no Quay Jones should not be the third assistant on the team.
Illinois was 80th in defensive efficiency in KenPom last year, and from the turn of the year, from like January 1st on in Torvik, they were like well into the hundreds.
And to put a bow though on the Brad Underwood thing for anyone here, I want to make this clear, okay? And I've been thinking about this too, Kevin. So it's not just the 20 wins in a row, right? It's not just the Big Ten titles Illinois had with Brad Underwood. It's not just his overall record, but just think about like this. Like, they're going to make the tournament again this year. Like, that isn't where Illinois settles. Like, on a bad year with Brad Underwood, you make the NCAA tournament. You had a chance to beat Arkansas a couple years ago. But to me, you always feel like you got a chance to make a second weekend, even with this team. I feel like if that's a down year with Brad Underwood, like, so what? Like, I'm not worried about that. Look at all these years it took Matt Painter to get to a Final Four and a national championship game. How many years did they get bounced out in the first round or go to the NIT in the middle of all that success he had, or get bounced in the second round? If you look at how great Matt Painter's been, he's had several down years where you're like, what the hell? Like Brad Underwood's on a streak now. If you go back to the COVID season, this will be 5 straight like NCAA tournament seasons with, 1 seeds mixed in, Big Ten titles, Elite 8, and we don't know where this team's going to go. So to say, oh, he's ready to, because there's people saying, oh, he's ready to get out of here, he's ready to leave, and there's people that want him gone. Like, I don't understand that, other than it's okay to be upset that he doesn't make the in-game adjustments that you like, but there's always enough talent on the team that can overcome any inefficiency or problem that people might think of that. I would say the injuries have just really derailed and hurt this team. It just has. If you think we would have lost at home to USC if KJ had played, that's laughable. They wouldn't have.
Or the games without Tommy Slav, like there's anything but that.
Yeah, Illinois would have beat Nebraska too with Tomislav Ivicic. I mean, it is what it is. And Illinois is 19-7 then, right? And they're 11-5 in the Big Ten, and they're a 4 or 5 seed right now. Is everybody bitching?
Yeah, I mean, to just support my metrics here from January 1st to March 28th of last year, according to Torvik, Illinois was 123rd in defensive efficiency. Guys, we were winning games 90 to something. So, I knew what you meant, Trent, and I appreciate that. And I get the negativity. I get the frustration, and I get, like, people think that Brad is too stubborn. Brad is not the best at in-game adjustments. But I think Brad is really good in adjustments from game to game at times. And I'm with Joe. I'm not buying that this season is lost. This team can beat anybody if they get going in the right direction. They're going to have to make some adjustments. Yeah, every coach does. He does make good in-game adjustments. It's like, but they don't work the way you guys want. I think one of the things that we're Illinois fans, and I think they might have a little bit of a valid point, but it's always a crapshoot. Is, man, when you go hire a new coach, is that we're not like Mike Thomas isn't hiring our next head coach for Illinois basketball, because I can go back and look. We can go look at the guys that were hired when Brad Underwood got hired and tell me who you want. He got rated like the 3rd or 4th coach in the Big Ten out that year. Like, everybody was on Archie Miller's nutsack and wanting that. Like, people wanted Sean Miller. What's Xavier doing? Like,
I'm gonna say this though, dude. How we're talking about Illinois lost to Loyola because of in-game adjustments. I really think, how many guys were missing every shot they took?
Yeah.
Like, come on, was Io an All-American in that game? I guess that was Brad's fault, you know.
Yeah. And Trent was
1 for fucking 12 in that game, by the way. Yeah. And that was on Brad, right? So he should have adjusted. He probably should have tinkered Trent's shit jumper probably in the timeout.
And maybe Brad does need All-Americans because he's had 3 of them since
he needs All-Americans that they've recruited, and that's why you recruit talent, because you don't have to adjust.
Who's the last guy that got 3 All-Americans at Illinois? Bill.
And look, Illini Silverback, Jordan, he has many flaws, and trust me, you guys know, I'll go in on it when I see it, but he's several. We've mentioned so many times of in-game adjustments, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But
go look at the second half offensive efficiencies against Ohio State, Minnesota, Rutgers. We'd go down the list, dude. The second half offensive efficiencies and what they picked up in those games were incredible, dude. The second half offensive efficiency against UCLA was incredible. So.
Yeah, so I will say this. I mentioned, like, he went to zone, right, and people bitched, oh, it was only for 3 or 4 possessions, and it was working, and then he stopped. Actually, he stopped when they nailed a 3 after 2 or 3 stops.
We had Raphael Davis on our show a year ago because 2 years ago, fans were clamoring for zone, and we asked Raphael, what's it like? Can you just switch to a zone and do it? Not something. He's like, it's impossible. It's impossible. Coaches who coach that on the regular, he says it's impossible. And I mean, I trust Raphael Davis on that one.
So and I can tell you this. So here's another one. KJ this year. KJ is gonna go down as probably the single best first year of any player in Illinois history, maybe, Kev, if you look at his numbers. But when you look at his points, when you look at his assists, and you look at his rebounds, if it's like he's recruiting these type of guys to Illinois, and so, like, yeah, I'm okay with that. But I think we all should have known that that when you are depending on 4 or 5 first-year guys to be the guys, it's always going to be a roller coaster. Like, you're just not going to win 5, 6, 7 in a row in the Big Ten when you have freshmen that are leading the way. And they can be the greatest freshmen you've ever seen, but they're still going to make mistakes, and they're going to miss shots, and they're going to take dumb shots, and they're going to screw up and turn the ball over. And to me, it was always about the big moments that you saw that can lead to what we're going to hopefully see in March. And I think nobody this year, I didn't care. I could care less if they won the Big Ten this year. It was what experiences is Will Riley going to get that's going to make him better in March? Like, can Tomislav and KJ get fully healthy and be prepared for March? Because when they're together, and by the way, Tomislav's still not 100%, Kevin.
No, and I think it caught up with him a little bit because that was his worst game maybe of the season. 2 of 9 from the field. Was he 0 of 4 from 3? 4 turnovers. It was 7. He had 7 boards, but it was not a typical Tommy.
He doesn't even jump off the floor, Kev. Yeah. He stays flat-footed.
Yeah, I agree with Ethan Browning there. I think we could have went under the screens, especially against UCLA. But
I mean, I saw Dre a couple times go under him. I saw Ben go under 1 or 2. I think it's those. I think it's just the small little things that people don't see enough of. Like there are adjustments. It's just if it doesn't work out how the fans want, then it's like he didn't do anything. He did no in-game adjustments.
And SDR, I love you, my dog. We can disagree on this, but what Bill Self did when he was at Illinois with his time at Illinois, he went Elite Eight, Sweet 16, round of 32. He regressed, and he was left a stockpile of players from Lon Kruger. Like you can get on that, and Brad is the only guy since Lou Henson to win a Big Ten championship with his players.
Yeah, and look,
that's a fact. Like, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Like,
yeah, I will say this. I want people to know. I do think Brad will get Illinois to a Final Four. Don't know if we'll ever win a national championship, but I know more Big Ten titles are coming. I know more second weekends are coming, and I think there will be a Final Four in his tenure before he hangs it up. I think if he's going to probably coach till he's 70. You still got another 8 or 9 years. But to say Brad ain't it, when you look at his numbers when his time is done at Illinois, people are going to step back and be like, and then think, man.
I don't know. We were just number one in offensive efficiency for a large portion of last season.
It was like, damn, we're pretty good. There's a lot of jerseys in those rafters.
They're just they're the number one rebounding team in the country this year. A very high offensive efficiency metrics. And they're running different stuff than he ran at Stephen F. Austin. They're running different stuff than he ran a couple of years ago. They're running different stuff than they ran with Kofi. Like, come on, man. Like, can we knock this stuff off?
So the accountability thing.
He doesn't even yell anymore. He doesn't even yell anymore. Like, people yell, he's a yeller. He just is a mean guy. Like, he doesn't even do that anymore. Like, what do you want?
I've seen him a couple times, but guess what? Did you guys see the Rick Pitino video, for God's sake? Have you seen that? Kev?
Or do you want him to throw guys under the bus in post-game interviews like freaking
look what Mick Cronin did. Okay, so Rick Pitino's doing like this docu-series. So at the halftime of halftime of the St. John's Creighton game over the weekend, they showed like a little clip of it. He basically told his guys, if you guys can't battle through adversity, who the fuck raised you guys? Are you all that weak mentally that you can't rise above a negative to say this is adversity, this helps us grow? Like if you talk to these guys like they're babies, like it's a YMCA here, like it's everybody gets a trophy, what the hell are they going to learn? Like it's okay sometimes to be up in someone's face and to get them to wake the hell up. I have no problem with that.
And I think you have to understand your guys too, right? Remember, who did he do fart noise to?
Terrence Shannon.
Terrence Shannon know your guys, right? I think some of these guys that's not going to play with, and maybe he's doing it in a locker. I would expect that stuff's probably happening in a locker.
I don't know, Jason. I think Trey White's been getting disciplined the last couple of days, the last couple of games. You say I don't think he's disciplining anybody.
Well, you got a problem with you don't think that it's being equitable in his disciplinary stuff what he's doing with some guys from a playing time standpoint.
Yeah. So and my beef with Brad is this, and I've said this: you have to hold the entire team accountable the same. And here's why. And this is what I do know for a fact, Kev, and I know you know who I talk to. When you have young guys on a team, okay. And even guys, and with the transfer portal, things matter because if you want to keep a guy, you can't have his morale so low because you see such and such is okay to turn it over this many times or miss that many shots or let's say miss a couple defensive assignments in a row. But the moment you come into the game and you blow a backdoor cut or you miss your open three or you get a couple quick fouls, even if one of them was a joke, your ass is on the bench and you probably may not play again. But this guy is able to do whatever. And it's not just KJ. He can do whatever, it's fine because we need him, right? We need him because he's one of the better players. To me, though, that doesn't really build a team morale chemistry-wise, and that creates some animosity with players and their team, like their families, and then their guys they're the guys that help them grow, their mentors and all that. And that stuff gets talked about all the time.
Yeah.
So, and I want people to know that shit matters.
It does.
And so that's where I think Brad can grow from this. And that's where there's a lot of animosity in that. And trust me, there's tension. Cut that. We'll see a new start tomorrow in Madison. If Trey White does not play, I'm just telling you that that has not been fixed. So if Trey plays,
we're gonna need Trey. We lost a dog in Merez. Trey's got a little bit of a dog in him. DGL's definitely got some dog in him.
Yes, Ethan, I am speaking of accountability. There's a reason I'm saying these things. And it's not just that your son's the offensive coordinator, as I've said. But everybody knows that now. It's more about the accountability of your players to say, no matter what, if you do things the right way, I'm not going to bench you. If KJ does things the right way, I'm not going to bench him. But if KJ doesn't do what we're preaching, I'm going to sit his ass down for a minute or two, and you're going to get your ass in the game.
And he's done it.
And so I'm just speaking in terms of guys like Dre, Gibbs, Lawhorn.
I forgot where was it Rutgers? Where Rutgers is where he.
Yes, I know. Well, no, Illinois won a game with KJ on the bench the last 5 or 6. Was it Ohio State?
Might have been. Yeah,
it was Ohio State. Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely need these guys to step up and come in there and give this team something. And I still believe this team can figure it out and put something together.
Yes, Jason. If Illinois wins only one more game the rest of the season, and even including the Big Ten tournament, they're going to make the tournament. They'll probably like a 10 seed, but I don't see that happening. I think Iowa's a win for sure, and I genuinely believe this. I'm telling you guys this. I genuinely believe we're going to beat Purdue on senior night.
Yep.
There's a lot at stake there. We owe them, and they're not last year's team. There's no Zach Edey. And yes, we just lost Merez. But while as good as Trey Kaufman-Wren is, I've watched Wisconsin go in there and be the more physical team and run their offense to death on them. I watched Ohio State do the same thing. So Illinois at home in that game, they're going to be able to score on Purdue. And if they're able to attack the glass and out-rebound them, which I think they can, even with their guards, I think they're going to at least win 2. I think there's a chance they could split one of Michigan and Wisconsin as well. I think the Duke game is going to be interesting. The Duke game is going to be – because Illinois is going to be the best team that Duke's played in a long time, Kev.
Yeah. If you were going to classify a team as – like if you're going to classify a team as tough, what's one metric? Like what's one thing that that team would do that would you classify them as tough?
Well, rebounding would be one. Yeah. They're I will say this.
That's rebounding.
Overall this year they've been tough. But against Michigan State they were not. And Brad said that himself for Michigan State. He said they were just tougher than we were, and they wanted it more, and they did. They looked like we're going to get that win for Izzo, and we want this shit. And Brad even said in the pregame, the press conference today, that his team they were just a step behind. He doesn't realize why they didn't come out with as fired up as they had been all year. He said all year they'd had like some pep. And even though Illinois was up 31-15, you could have fooled me. But apparently Illinois there wasn't that fire, though. The fire. And yes, Duke lost one of their guys, who was the Syracuse transfer. He's like a real big glue guy for them. It looked like he hyperextended his arm.
Wasn't Sion James, was it? He's from Tulane.
Let me see here. Who the Duke Harris. It was Harris. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hold on. It was I'm gonna click it up right now. It's all good. I was watching the game.
We'll see. That's why they play the games. Alabama didn't beat the brakes off us. Like I'm not. I think there's too much defeatist mentality from a fan base because we hit the worst cold stretch I've ever seen. It's all right.
No, it wasn't. No, it was not Sion James. Sorry, let me see here. It was Malik Brown. Yeah, It was Malik Brown. So
yeah, junior big forward. Yeah,
he's a guy that plays big minutes for them. Malik Brown, probably similar to what Merez's injury is to Illinois. But anyway,
that's going to be the real challenge is if Tommy gets any kind of foul trouble.
And Cooper Flag, who's guarding Cooper? Merez would have been guarding Cooper.
Kerry Booth, dog.
Yeah, Kerry Booth's gonna do Trey White. Give him a challenge, dude.
Hey, I tell you, with the exception of, I think USC is probably the one game where you look at it like it hasn't been the studs that's cooked us. It's always been that off guy. I mean, granted, Bilodeau is the leading scorer for UCLA, but it's
AG cooked us, man. Come on.
Yeah, but so did
4 threes, dude.
All that 30 on us. Riley. It's going to be Riley, Trey White, Ben are going to guard Cooper Flag.
Here, Kev? I'll give you a chance to respond to this. You're a grown man. Look at his rotations. You played 6 guys against the best fast break transition team in the Big Ten, and Kevin wants to praise Brad.
Didn't I say that he didn't have his best coaching performance? See, I'm not this is the difference is I'm not a micro looking fan. I'm a macro guy. Everybody wants to jump off a ship because of one thing. People want to quit being fans of a guy because of one game. I guess Kansas fans should have quit on Bill Self when he lost to Bucknell, or better yet, when he lost to Bradley. Or maybe Roy Williams wasn't a good coach because he could never win a national championship in Kansas. Oh wait, the guy that got 3 rings. Like, I'm a macro guy. I'm not a micro guy.
Yeah, and look how many years Jay Wright struggled, dude. Jay Wright was almost fired at Villanova before he caught wind and got guys like Scotty Reynolds and
John Beilein in Michigan.
Yeah,
I don't know. Team made Elite 8 last
year. I think Kerry Booth's gonna get some minutes. He's gonna need to because Thomas, you gotta have a little size in there.
Well, the other thing, like Wisconsin doesn't have the back you down bigs. Crowell will, but I don't buy him. Their bigs play like wings. They stand on the perimeter, and I think that's where you can like Booth can come in and play against Wisconsin some there.
Yeah, because they're not. Crowell will try to back you down a little bit, but those guys are spacing the floor.
Hey, listen, unfortunately, Wisconsin, I wouldn't say it's a must-win. I don't believe that's a must-win game, but it's turned into a much more important game. I still think it's a game they can win. I think Wisconsin's playing really well. I think we are a team that beat them. We handled them pretty well in that game when we played them in Champaign. I think this team doesn't really give a shit where they play. I don't think it matters if it's in Champaign or on the road. They seem to be about the same. They can be either really good or really bad in either place.
Ethan, you're not allowed.
Oh no, he said. I appreciate what he says. He's be mad, man. It's all good. I was mad. That's like I said. I didn't want to go on the show last night or the night before because I was so pissed.
I was like having a bed, Kev. I was like, please.
No, here. I think they can beat Wisconsin. I really believe that. I believe that this team can still be really good. I think this team can be the team that got up 16 against Michigan State. They can also be the team that blew it. So we'll just.
Yep. So
not gonna lose out, and they're not gonna lose out. So
yeah, they're not gonna lose out. No way in hell they're gonna lose out. So yeah,
if you believe they're gonna lose out, do yourself a favor and
just
watch. Can you watch the Nation's Face Off or the NBA's not back on yet? I don't know. Watch something else. Yeah.
I don't know. I know, Kev. Look, I get the NBA is probably cool because you got Oklahoma City, but I'm gonna be honest, man. The NBA dude is just too. I just could care less about it personally.
Well, I like watching Terrence play the other night. That was
but okay. So those are the reasons I do watch. I watch Io when the sloppy bowls are on, and I feel so bad for him. I'm like, dude, like you care, like you give a damn, but you got a bunch of other jokers on your team that don't, and that's why it's hard for me to watch. It's like the bowls.
And Terrence is coming here. A week from tonight, my concern is if Minnesota gets healthy after the All-Star break, does he go relegated to his 2 minutes a game, and do I spend money on getting a ticket to go watch? So,
and here's another. Finally, Chris Finch has decided to play Terrence. It's like, oh, and that's only because injuries. And I'm thinking,
well, the one thing is he's passed Minot on the rotation, and Minot was getting about 10 minutes a game, so. It's just tough because with this NBA, if he's in a different situation, he could have played in the Rising Stars game. He could have got a lot more stuff.
But I'm going to tell you what, though, at least next year he'll be able to do that because it's rookies and sophomores get to play in that game.
Yeah.
And I think he'll get his chance next year, just like Io did for 2 years.
Hey, Ryan, we're beating Wisconsin tomorrow night.
Hey, I love it, dude. I love it, Kev. I love it. So,
and you know what? I'm gonna think we're gonna win every game we watch because that's just who I am. I'm out. So whatever.
Some good rodeo been going on, Joe.
Bruce Weber's not coaching the Mile Line anymore. So.
Yep. What was it? So after tonight, starting tomorrow, you guys, there's a Big Ten game on every night until March 10th, and that is the Monday after the final regular season game before the Big Ten tournament starts on Wednesday. So this is one of my favorite times of the year, Kev. There's college hoops on pretty much every night. Mm-hmm. Then March Madness is here, Big Ten tournament, March Madness. This is the fun. The next 6 weeks are like my favorite. So,
I might be heading to Vegas for the first weekend of the tournament, so we'll see.
Are you going to New York for the Illinois Duke game?
No, I can't. I'll be in Denver on Wednesday night, and then back into Phoenix. So I can't quite get out there.
So Vegas for like a work thing, or just
the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. There's a work thing I might need to go to.
So you can just watch all the games and put a little money down.
It's the best. It's the best. Hey, let's get to final thoughts. Put a bow on this, man. It's 20 after 10.
Yeah, that's fine. Who starts tomorrow, Kev?
I think Dre starts. I think it's probably Dre. Might be my starting lineup tomorrow is KJ, Dre, Will Riley, Ben, and Tommy.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you go first, Kev. Final thoughts.
There's two ways to go here, so I'm gonna let you go on the other side of this, which I hope you will do, which I think you'll talk about. What happened yesterday from the Illini perspective was just pretty positive. Itch Jones passed away today, longtime baseball coach of the Fighting Illini. Had some really good teams, especially in the early 90s. Put quite a few guys into the not yet, Brandon. Quite a few guys into the MLB. Was a first-class guy. If you ever had a chance to meet Itch, I've got a lot of friends that got first coaching opportunities under him. My guy Ryan Tabling, my boy Lindy Lushin. They got opportunities to work with Itch. I think my brother went to a camp with Itch. I didn't go to. I was trying to focus on football like an idiot. I should have focused on baseball. But Rich left a legacy at Illinois. I mean, Hartlib coached underneath him for a long time. Actually, I had a chance to meet Coach Hartlib in Orlando, and it was a really cool experience, really nice. So I just rest in peace, Coach Jones. Thank you for what you gave the university. So
that's right. I remember when I was a young man, somebody told me the coach of Illinois was Itch Jones, and I said, Itch? And they were like, I was like, Itch? And they're like, yeah, Itch. I was like, okay, well, whatever.
Do you remember who he replaced?
I'm sure somebody else with a goofy name. No.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit goofy name. It's also a college baseball coaching legend, Augie Garrido.
That's right. Who went to Texas?
We went to Cal State Fullerton first, and then ended up at Texas. Is an all-time legend, multiple national championships.
What did he do at Illinois as the coach?
It was really good. He had Illinois cooking. So
there was an Augie Garrido.
Oh, yeah, in the locker room.
He was like, "This isn't about a game. It's not a damn game. It's about your life. Don't you get it?"
He was a little bit of the Bob Knight of college baseball coaching.
He's like, when I tell you to take, you fucking take. Yeah. That's you go watch.
No, he was at Cal State Fullerton before he came to Illinois, and then after. So yeah.
So anyway, yes. So on the other side, Shauna Green in Illinois women, 21-5 and 11-4 in the toughest league in the country. Undersized, underwomaned, I'm not going to say undermanned, underwomaned, play 6 or 7 people with 2 of their best players out, Bolin and Cook, but they haven't needed him. What I've loved to see is the emergence of Barry Wallace.
Heck
I'm
yeah.
going to tell you something. Barry Wallace is going to be a great at Illinois before she's done. She's freshman. She can do it all. She's got good size. She can hit open shots from deep. And, they've got Destiny Jackson in that recruiting class they got coming in next year.
Killing it, man.
Who, by the way, got shafted in the McDonald's All-American selection. By the way, I want everybody to know that was a travesty, okay? And it's only because she's coming to Illinois. That's it. Just like Merez Johnson didn't get a McDonald's All-American pick because he's coming to Illinois. It's all about AAU connections. Anyway.
Brandon Lee is playing in the Jordan brand, though, right?
Yes. So back to Shauna Green. What she's done with this team and bought in, and she says that Illinois is the most connected team she's ever had as a coach. And you can really see them like as a unit through as of her extension of her out there. Kendall Bostic has been such a fun girl to watch. I can tell you this. She battles girls 3 to 4 inches taller than her every game and either out rebounds them or at least gives them the same amount of rebounds every game. And she goes against tough girls like the Markowski girl from Nebraska, is an all Big Ten center, and she outplayed her yesterday. So Illinois is getting more production from Bryn Shoup-Hill this year. I've been watching as many games as I can. So an 8-game win streak, even though that might end this week, they go at number one UCLA. They go at number 1 UCLA. Then they go to at number 3 or 4 USC before they finish up with a senior night March 2nd in Champaign against Michigan. I would love to see like 10 to 13,000 people at that game. These women deserve it. Let me get a drink here before I get a little choked up. These women deserve it. I would love to see a full house if you can. But right now they're projected as an 8 seed on a lot. But it's crazy. Like, they finally just got ranked again after they had won. Like, I'm thinking, what do these girls need to do? Like, they went and beat Maryland, who was a top 15 team in Maryland. They had some other good quality wins before that. But then they finally beat Nebraska, who was an NCAA tournament team yesterday, and got snuck into the top 25 poll, Kev. So this is a team, I think, probably a 7 seed more realistically right now. If they can steal one of the UCLA-USC games and then beat Michigan, I think they can really bolster their resume to push for a top 16 spot. Because if you look at their metrics, they're like around 30 in the net right now. And that would be a resume, like quad 1A win. Push their net probably into the top 25, top 20-ish range. And 23-6 looks pretty good.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It's going to be tough with playing both those teams to maintain that double bye. I don't know.
South Carolina lost too, Sean, so I don't know why them losing matters. But anyway.
Yeah, well, it's Notre Dame's number 1 now.
He's number 2. Sorry.
I don't know how the women's tournament's constructed. I know they don't play as many conference games as the men. That's just not something I pay this close attention to. So I'd really like to see them maybe if they could get a home tournament game, that'd be pretty cool. So.
And Illinois is hosting Alexa Dimitrievich for the Iowa game, February 25th, and he's a guy that Orlando Antigua has been on for over a year.
7'1", can stroke it.
7'1". He's literally he's a Tomislav Ivicic, right around the same type of guy. But I think he's actually less of a guy who plays perimeter ball. He's a lot better from the 2-point range. He's a lot better around the rim, but he still can stretch the floor. If you notice with Tomislav, he can shoot around the rim, but he prefers to shoot from deep. So, man,
he was so good, effective around the rim early in the season.
I know.
So
that we'd like to get anyway. So that's that. Let's get an Illinois dub tomorrow. Kev's got Illinois beating Wisconsin. I think it's going to be a battle. I'm not going to jinx them and have us both pick them. So we'll let Kevin be right. So we'll get the viral clip posted if Illinois wins tomorrow night.
And the golf team didn't show well in Hawaii, finished 5th, but that's beside the point. So
All right, that'll do it. Swallow me out.
Hello.
I and I.